I'm Alyssa Hamre Kontak. My journey to Bethel was sort of a windy road. Seems like the Lord likes doing that sometimes. And originally, I came to Bethel to do teaching licensure coursework. I thought that I would maybe be going out to teach high school. And this was after I got my master's in physics. And um, while I was here, I ended up helping out some in the physics and engineering department, kind of as a super TA, for lack of a better title, I guess. And the Lord just kept opening doors for me to be here part time. And so at one point, I was doing part time teaching here at Bethel and part time teaching high school. And I found that teaching at the college level was really a good fit for me, and that's what I was passionate about. And I am very, very thankful to this day that the Lord opened doors so that I could continue to be teaching here. My first and most important role is teaching physics, and that includes teaching some courses for physics and engineering majors, teaching some courses for students who are not majoring in physics and engineering. It also includes teaching our astronomy course, which I love. Um, really, I enjoy all of the courses that I teach. Aside from that, I'm the current director of advising for the College of Arts and Sciences. So I'm also passionate about making sure that our students have a good experience with the advising part of their journey here, and that faculty feel like they're well prepared to do that. Aside from that, I do a lot of other bits and pieces of things. I'm the PI for Bethel's portion of Minnesota Space Grant. I'm the faculty advisor for our Society of Physics Students group. I'm the faculty advisor for our Women in Physics and Engineering group. I coordinate our department seminar. Like everyone in my department and really around Bethel, there's stuff that needs to be done. We just all pitch in. So I was the first full-time female faculty in the physics and engineering department. And so when I got here, a lot of the female faculty members in the math and computer science department sort of adopted me, which I really appreciated. So particularly Patrice Conrath, Becky Seberg, Deborah Thomas, all really went out of their way to make sure that I felt welcome and felt like I had connections in their department as well. And I really, really valued that. Aside from that, I've learned a ton from both Paula Sonerall and Sarah Wise. I've certainly learned from Kathy Nevins. I think every female faculty member here has learned something from Kathy Nevins. And then even the other female physics and engineering professors who have come more recently. So both Karen Rogers, who's now retired, and then Julie Hogan have been amazing to work with, but also I've learned a lot from them as well. That's all I can think of off the top of my head, but I know there have been other women faculty who I've learned from along the way too. That's just what comes to mind first.
Have you felt supported by the men in your department?
Very much so. I count that as one of the huge blessings about working in my department is even when I was the only female faculty, they still really, really made an effort to make sure that I was included and make sure that I was heard in our department meetings. And We have a very like kind of family-ish feel within our department. So even when I was really new, it was just like having a bunch of like uncles and cousins to kind of help me, especially as I was really still learning the ropes in those first several years. I think for me, one of the trickiest situations that I've run into has been with prospective student parents. Um, and especially when I first started at Bethel, um, I was younger than the typical faculty member, even for new faculty, um, because I just had a master's degree in the teaching coursework. Um, and so I would get comments about my youth, which I think sometimes was intended to be like a nice thing. So I don't think people meant it meanly, but occasionally I internalize that as being a, a question of my competence, and um, that has gotten better as I've gotten older. Um, but even in a recent conversation, probably about 4 months ago, with one of my colleagues, um, it sounded like I was, I still get questions from prospective student parents asking about, oh, what do you teach? And things like that, where the colleague that I was chatting with did not have that experience, and happened to be a male colleague. So I think sometimes there are still differences, um, but I mean that is what it is, and I still love what I do. So if there are things like that, it's just push it aside and focus on the good stuff.
How would you describe the gender demographics?
Yeah. Um, so we have definitely seen fluctuations in the gender demographics of our department. Um, we had a really substantial class of women. I think we had like 9 women in one of our recent graduating classes. And by recent, I guess I mean within the last 5 years or so. Um, and it kind of goes up and down. We have some classes that just have a few women in them. We have other classes where we have, 5, 6, 7. One of the things as the faculty supervisor for the Women in Physics and Engineering Club is I really want to make sure that all of the women in our department feel welcome and feel like they're connected, especially for the women who are in classes that have a smaller number of women. Then we really want to make sure that they are able to connect not just with the women in their class, but with those who are older and those who are younger, so that they feel like they have a good, strong community, which is not to say that the men in our department aren't awesome as well. It's just sometimes it's good to have, sometimes it's good to have the connection with other women. So within my family, my dad is an engineer and my grandpa was an engineer. So I get some of the technical aspects from them, and my mom is in teaching, and so I get the teaching side from her. So really there are a lot of aspects of what I do now that are coming from my family, um, and that's fun to be able to incorporate some of those memories of things with my family into my teaching. um, Within a church context, I am so incredibly thankful for the church that my husband and I attend, our pastor is a former plant geneticist. So within my church, being like being able to connect science and my faith is like totally comfortable and very much the norm for my church, which is amazing. Um, I know that there are other church contexts where that's not as comfortable. Um, and I have been in other churches where I have sometimes shied away on talking about what I do for my job. Um, but how much of that is the church environment and how much of that is me? Well, I don't know that I have a good answer there. Um, within, I guess, within the context of my discipline as a whole, um, again, for the most part, I have been really blessed to have male colleagues who have been supportive of me, even in other contexts aside from Bethel. Um, I definitely had a few things in grad school where it was like, oh, okay, well, that was a strange interaction with that student that I was a teaching assistant for, and that sort of stuff happens. But I never felt unsafe, or I'm lacking the words, but for the most part, it was pretty good. Um, like the other guys who worked in my lab were totally supportive of me, and so I know that's not the case for some other women, and I'm very thankful for the blessings of support that I've had along the way. Oh, it's definitely something that other schools have, are women in physics or women in engineering organizations, and um, in fact, it's not just something that other schools have. It's something that professional organizations also really support. So, for example, um, my Women in Physics and Engineering Club leaders actually just applied for a grant. I believe it was with the American Physical Society, and received the grant to help us develop a mentorship program with some of our alumni. So it's, again, it's not even just within schools, it's something that's very well supported nationwide. Um, and again, I'm very thankful for that. And I'm looking forward to see where the mentorship program goes. I think the one other piece, and I've already kind of alluded to this, for people who are watching this video segment, I would say, um, remember that God can get you where He wants you to be. It doesn't have to be the expected path. And I'm, again, very, very thankful for the work that I've been privileged to do here, and incredibly thankful for the support of my department throughout the years. Um, I think that's it. My hope for Bethel for the future would be that um, we continue to have those supportive environments. As I said, I know that I've been blessed with a supportive environment, but not everybody has felt that. Um, and I would hope that regardless of gender, um, that our faculty members, that our students would continue to feel like they have places that are good community and supportive, and places where they can explore and embrace those passions of who God has created them to be.